This episode of AskJay is brought to you by GoDaddy. Coming up, does size matter, or is it all about burn rate? I'm Jay Adelson, and I'm the founder and chairman of Revision 3. I've started and built a number of companies. My goal in this show is to pass on some of the knowledge from my experiences to you, the budding entrepreneurs, and hopefully leave you with some words of wisdom. Today's question is a three-parter from Apollo in Boston. His first question: I've worked at a couple of startups, some successful, others not. What do you think is a good size? The second question is, who should be that initial core team when you raise your funding? I'm paraphrasing a bit. And the third question, what do you think is a realistic cash flow burn rate on a small startup before it's received any funding? Apollo, great questions. You got three questions that we're going to try and answer in one quick episode, so I'll compress a little bit. Your first question, what's a good size for a web startup to join? You know, I've found that for a startup in its early stages, it's really fun to be one of the first 10 people. And let me explain why that's an important pivot point. Because when you're in that early stage and there's less than 10 people working at the company, you tend to wear multiple hats. This is an amazing experience, right? And it's one of those rare moments where you might get to do a job that in a larger company, frankly, you'd never be qualified to do, and no one would ever hire you to do it. And so it's a great time when it's that small number where you can really, if you've got a natural skill at something, you can step up to the plate, show that skill, and execute. So I really think the answer to your first question is a good time is before they've hired more than 10 employees. Other things change at different numbers. For example, when you get to 20 employees, or I think it's 25 employees in California, all of a sudden HR starts to become more important. You actually have to go through sexual harassment training once you get past 25 employees in a startup. So things just subtly change in a startup after that point. So the sooner the better, I think, is the answer. Second question, your core group. Who should be part of that core group? Should it be chief marketing officers, chief financial officers? You know, really one common truth behind a startup after it's just received its funding is that these startups typically need to have one really decent finance person who can focus on the books, one person who's outwardly focused. Could be a marketing and sales VP or someone who's had experience with one or the other or both. And definitely a technology leader, somebody like a CTO or a VP of engineering who can really own both operations and engineering at the beginning. For me, that's the core group. You know, you can expand off that based on success. If you're finding that there's a lot of sales going on, you can hire people to do more junior roles before you hire a senior person, but wait till there's success to justify the hire. And the same is true really across the board, but those three areas I think are really important to cover. That and of course the CEO, because someone's got to manage those three people. All right, I'll give you the answer to your third question about burn rate, but first I want to thank our sponsor. We'd like to thank GoDaddy for sponsoring this episode of AskJay. Looking to drive viewers to your video content? Then get a .tv domain name and stand out from the crowd. .tv domains are perfect for podcasters, video bloggers, people like me, anyone with something to say, and they're available now at GoDaddy.com. And remember, you can download GoDaddy's free iPhone, Android, or BlackBerry app to order right from your phone and manage your current domains and more. Check out revision3.com/GoDaddy for a list of all the amazing GoDaddy deals from Revision 3. And today, if you use the AskJay2 code, you'll get $5 off any order of $30 or more. Okay, the third question, Apollo, about cash burn. Before we get into the details, let me just explain what cash burn is. Cash burn is how much money you're spending, and basically, if you look at your bank account, how much your bank account is dropping every month. Now, there's two different types of cash burn. There's gross burn and net burn. Gross burn is really about, well, really it's your total cost per month, whereas net burn is that cost minus the revenue you're bringing in. So if you have $200,000 a month in costs, you have $50,000 in revenue, that means you have $150,000 in net burn. And that's the number that you should be paying attention to, and that's the number that your board will be paying attention to. Thanks for watching this show. Remember, please send your questions to AskJay@revision3.com. We have lots of questions coming in there. Where we'd really like to see something different is some video response questions on the Ask Jay Adelson channel on YouTube. That's youtube.com/Jay Adelson. And then also, love to see you on Twitter. Please follow me at Jay Adelson. And until next time, I'll see you later.